I'm gonna use my messy, I think it's getting old. It's a carbon ink pen. You can buy it on Amazon for about $10. It's pretty cheap. And its ink is waterproof. It has a very fine line. It's very dark ink, different from the other pen I use a lot, the Noodler's Lexington Gray. But it's fun. It's fun to change it up. The main difference is that it's thin. Very thin line. I bought these macarons based on their color, not so much on their flavor. As much as I like berries and fruit, I'm not crazy about berry flavored things. And I think this is what this purple one is. Green should be pistachio, which is one of my favorite flavors. I'm not crazy quite by how bright it is. You can see macarons everywhere. And I had meant to buy them, then I forgot, so I just bought them in the first place I found, the last place I found on my way home today. And happens to be known for that, and it's special, and as you can see they even have gold leaf on top and silver here. I'm not going to bother reproducing that, and it's a little bit over the top. I'm going to let the ink dry and then come back for watercolor. My plan was to use just colors from my little travel palette, but then I realized that I have this color on the other palette that's perfect, and it's culturally appropriate because it's Sennelier, so it's a French brand of watercolor, and it's called Golden Yellow Ochre, to which I've added a little bit of Daniel Smith Quinacridone Burnt Orange. This, I happen to get a little bit of blue in my Indian yellow, so it's a little bit yellowish. I mean a little bit greenish, not too much, but a little bit. So I'm going to use it for this green one, and I'll add a little bit of cobalt teal, which seems to work well as this pale and bright green. Oops. It's the ink that went on my wash here. And then for this purplish one, another color that is not in my little palette but that works really well is ultramarine, Rose of Ultramarine, which is a mixture that includes ultramarine blue and I believe permanent rose. Finally, for this yellow, warm yellow one in front, I'm gonna use my two standard yellows, and one is transparent yellow and the other is Gamboge, which is a warmer, brighter yellow. I'm going to let this dry. In order to engage my small mind while waiting for the first layer to dry without actually eating the macaron, I did some lettering and a little bit of a frame to this sketch that is really hard because of course I want to eat these so badly. I haven't had any since coming to France. almost 3 weeks ago. So I did a little shadow with my shadow violet. Excuse me. I'm gonna do the writing here. I'll use some of the colors I used in the sketch. So this lovely cobalt teal that I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna do some wet on wet with cobalt blue. They mix nicely, don't they? And then for my signature, what should I use? Right, let's go with some of the yellow, the Indian yellow. And then over that, I'll use some of this. I like it fake cadmium, but I think there's a nicer word for it. Cadmium hue, something like this. Scarlet hue for sure. Right, I'm gonna let those mix on their own. I have to remember this combination. Look how pretty the granulation is. Maybe you can't see it, but the cobalt blue and cobalt teal are both granulating colors, and I just love granulation. You can't always control it. I'm gonna go back to my beloved golden ochre. So it's important not to cover all of the previous layer. That's what gives it that funky, fun quality. And for a sense of depth, I'm gonna use the somewhat darker quinacridone burnt orange just around the edges of the circle. Then back to the rose of ultramarine, which I used pretty much straight. It really works without much alteration by other colors. But here it's a little bit darker, so I'm just going to use it in a more intense form. I'd love to have some silver for that, but I don't. And then more of that cobalt teal mixed with yellow for this very artificial looking green, I have to say. I think my own painting looks more natural of a color than that, but the original will taste better for sure. And some gamboge for this mysterious yellow flavor. And I'm gonna call this done. Except I might write in the flavors after I have eaten them.